Hi, altruistic followers and well-wishers. I presume you and your dear and near are hale and healthy. It is activist and preacher Professor S. Suresh back with a sheer delight for my 73rd video on the anvil of publication on YouTube today, 1st of September 2020. Topic for discussion today is SWOT analysis. SWOT, SWOT, stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. It's also known as SWOC, C for challenges instead of threats. SWOT analysis or SWOT Matrix is a strategic planning technique used to help a person or organization identify strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats related to business, competition or project planning. This technique, which operates by peeling back layers of the company, is designed for use in the preliminary stages of decision-making process and can be used as a tool for evaluation of the strategic position of a city or organization. It is intended to specify the objectives of the business venture or project and identify the internal and external factors that are favorable and unfavorable to achieving these objectives. Users of a SWOT analysis often ask and answer questions to generate meaningful information for each category to make the tool useful and identify their competitive advantage. SWOT has been described as a tried and true tool of strategic analysis, but has also been criticized for its limitations. SWOT assumes that strengths and weaknesses are frequently internally related, while opportunities and threats commonly focused are due to the external environment. The name is an acronym for the 4 parameters the technique examines: strengths, characteristics of the business or project that gives it an advantage over others; weaknesses, characteristics of the business that place the business or project at a disadvantage related to others; opportunities, elements in the environment that the business or project could exploit to its advantage; threats, the elements in the environment that could cause trouble for the business or project. The degree to which the internal environment of the firm matches with the external environment is expressed by the concept of strategic fit. Identification of SWOTs is important because they can inform later steps in planning to achieve the objective. First, decision makers should consider whether the objective is attainable given the SWOTs. If the objective is not attainable, they must select a different objective and repeat the process. Some authors credit SWOT to Albert Humphrey, who led a convention at the Stanford Research Institute in the 1960s and 70s using data from Fortune 500 companies. However, Humphrey himself did not claim the creation of SWOT, and the origins remain obscure. Internal factors are viewed as strengths or weaknesses depending upon the effect on the organization's objective. What may represent strengths with respect to one objective may be weaknesses for another objective. The factors may include personnel, finance, manufacturing capabilities, and all of the marketing mix, 4 Ps. External factors include macroeconomics, technological change, legislation, and socio-cultural changes, as well as changes in the marketplace. Results are often presented in the form of a matrix. SWOT analysis is a method of categorization for which lists are compiled uncritically and without prioritization rather than seeking important factors to achieving objectives. Weak opportunities may appear to balance strong threats. SWOT analysis can be used in any decision-making situation when a desired end state objective is defined, not just profit-seeking organizations. Examples include non-profit organizations, governmental units, and individuals. SWOT analysis may also be used in pre-crisis planning and preventive crisis management. SWOT analysis may also be used in creating a recommendation during a viability study or survey. SWOT analysis can be used to build organizational or personal strategy. Steps necessary to execute strategy-oriented analysis involve identification of internal and external factors, selection and evaluation of the most important factors, and identification of relations existing between internal and external features. For instance, strong relations between strengths and opportunities can suggest good conditions in the company and allow using an aggressive strategy. On the other hand, strong interactions between weaknesses and threats could be analyzed as a potential for warning and advice for using a defensive strategy. One way of using SWOT is matching and converting. Matching is used to find competitive advantage by mixing the strengths to opportunities. Another tactic is to convert weaknesses or threats into strengths or opportunities. An example of a conversion strategy is to find new markets. If the threats or weaknesses cannot be converted, the company should try to minimize or avoid them. As part of the development of strategies and plans to enable the organization to achieve its objectives, and the organization will use a systematic, rigorous process known as corporate planning. Set objectives, defining what the organization is going to do. Environmental scanning, internal appraisals of the organization. SWOT. This needs to include an assessment of the present situation as well as portfolio of products or services and an analysis of the product service lifecycle. Analysis of existing strategies. This should determine relevance from the results of an internal external appraisal. This may include gap analysis to environmental factors. Strategic issues define key factors in the development of a corporate plan that the organization must address. Develop new revised strategies. Revised analysis of strategic issues may mean the objectives need to change. Establish critical success factors, the achievement of objectives and strategy in implementation, preparation of operational resource, projects plans for strategy implementation, monitoring all results, mapping against plans, taking corrective action, which may mean amending objective strategies. In many competitor analysis, marketers build detailed profiles of each competitor in the market, focusing especially on the relative competitive strengths and weaknesses using SWOT analysis. Marketing managers will examine each competitor's cost structure, sources of profits, resources and competencies, competitive positioning and product differentiation, degree of vertical integration, historical responses to industry developments and other factors. The SWOT analysis has been used in community work as a tool to identify positive and negative factors within organizations, communities, and the broader society that promotes inhibit successful implementation of social services and social change efforts. It is used as a preliminary resource assessing strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats in community served by a non-profit or community organization. Although SWOT analysis is a part of planning, it will not provide a strategic plan if used by itself, but a SWOT list can become a series of recommendations. Strengths and weaknesses, internal factors within an organization, human resources, staff, volunteers, board members, target population, physical resources, your location, building, equipment, financial, grants, funding agencies, other sources of income, activities and process, programs you run, systems you employ, past experiences, building blocks for learning and success, your reputation in the community, opportunities and threats, external factors stemming from community, societal forces, future trends in your field of the culture, the economy, local, national or international, funding sources, foundations, donors, legislatures, demographics, change in the age, race, gender, culture of those you serve or in your area. The physical environment is a building in a growing part of town, is the bus company cutting roads, legislation, do new federal requirements make the job harder or easier, local, national or international events. Although the SWOT analysis was originally designed as an organizational method for business and industries, it has been replicated in various community works as a tool for identifying external and internal support to combat internal and external opposition. The SWOT analysis is necessary to provide direction to the next stages of change process. It has been used by community organizers and community members to further social justice in the context of social work practice. SWOT is intended as a starting point for discussion and cannot in itself show managers how to achieve a competitive advantage, particularly in a rapidly changing environment. Mann et al. And Hill and Westbrook suggested no one subsequently used the outputs within the later stages of the strategy. Others have critiqued hastily designed SWOT lists, preoccupation with a single strength such as cost control. They can neglect the weaknesses such as product quality, domineering by one or two community workers. Devalue the possible contributions of community members. Michael Porter developed the 5 forces framework as a reaction to SWOT, which he found lacking in rigor and ad hoc. Other names include Watts, WOTS, Up, Gray and Smeltzer, and Taos. Reversing the emphasis, SWOT is reversed with external first. In project management, the alternative to SWOT, known by acronym Strengths, Vulnerabilities, Opportunities and Risks, shortly SWOT, SWOR, compares the project elements along two axes, internal and external, and positive and negative. It takes into account the mathematical link that exists between those various elements, constraint also the role of infrastructure. According to Barney, SWOT is a simple framework that points to the importance of external and internal forces for the purpose of understanding the sources of competitive advantage. It is a preliminary analytical tool that must be supplemented with a rigorous competitive resource, financial and organizational analysis. SWOT helps decide whether the main problems facing an organization revolve around a need to revise strategy, a need to improve strategy implementation, or both. SWOT analysis can generally help or portray a strategic organization situation and identify what information is needed and what decisions are likely to be made on a personal as well as organizational levels. This tool helps look at the organization's current performance and the organization's future. Current performance, strengths and weaknesses, future is opportunities and threats by accounting for the factors that exist in the external environment. SWOT is a powerful and sometimes highly successful technique that can be applied to individuals, groups, teams, organizations or event plans. SWOT analysis is a tool commonly used in strategic planning. The letter stands for, as I said, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. SWOT analysis has been a foundational tool for strategic planning since its development in the 1950s and 60s and is still extensively used today. Classified as a key component of the design school of strategy by Mintzberg et al., the SWOT analysis quickly became the standard approach to analyzing internal and external organizational environments and remains perhaps the most well-known strategic planning tool. According to Huben, every company is confronted with the various internal and external forces that might compromise potential stimulants as well as limitations when it comes to the company's performance or its objectives. Hence, according to SWOT thinking, managers should start by identifying and evaluating those factors that help or hinder the company in reaching the potential. Such analysis is of permanent nature since the company is faced with a dynamic, constantly changing environment. A successful interaction with such a rapidly changing environment is generally thought to result in good performance. The SWOT framework as a specific strategy tool was developed by Learned et al. From earlier efforts at the Harvard Business School to analyze case studies. In the 1950s, Smith and Christensen set out to study how organizations related to the external environments, and their approach would later form the foundation for SWOT analysis. Andrews concluded that organizations should have clearly stated objectives that help them to be competitive and successful. After the study was concluded by Learned et al., classroom discussions took place in various business schools across the United States and focused on organizations' strengths and weaknesses and related them to opportunities and risks. Then in 1963, a business policy conference was held at Harvard. SWOT analysis was discussed openly and considered as an essential strategic planning tool. Further insight into the utility of SWOT analysis came from research conducted at Stanford Research Institute from 1960 to 70 concerning planning failures in organizations. Research was funded by several Fortune 500 companies in an effort to find out how to strengthen planning practices in the future and avoid what were viewed as planning failures. Executives and CEOs in 1,100 companies were interviewed and 250-item questionnaire was designed. The results classified a synthesis of responses to the research study. What is good in the present is satisfactory. What is good in the future is an opportunity. What is bad in the present is a fault. And what is bad in the future is a threat. The resulting acronym became SWOT Analysis. The resulting original acronym became SWOT, Soft Analysis. Analysis was then presented. Soft for satisfactory, opportunity, fault, threat. The analysis was then presented to Urich and Orr in 1964, who altered the F in fault to W for weaknesses, and hence they called it as SWOT. The SWOT analysis quickly, and instead of fault, they call it as opportunities. Okay, the SWOT analysis quickly received further attention and became heavily used in British organizations and led to a resurgence of use in the United States. To reflect an emphasis on external environmental factors, the approach has been alternately referred as Taos TOWS, SWOT is reversed. The Taos Matrix was initiated by Volkswagen in the early 1970s, and the company was faced with higher labor costs in Germany and difficulties with exporting to the US. The Taos Matrix has been used as a variation of SWOT, where the various factors are identified and then paired in order to stimulate a new strategic initiative. SWOT has essentially remained unchanged even though many models and frameworks have emerged. These are all variations on the same theme. In one way or another, SWOT has been a fundamental strategic framework on which various topics of strategic management, research and practice have been used. SWOT analysis is a strategic planning framework. Strategies are long-term, facts are short-term, tact or tactics. It is the first stage in many variations of a strategic management process and therefore considered by some to be the most important. SWOT can be a rich and prompt tool that helps explore new opportunities, possibilities, and initiate new programs. SWOT is a dynamic continuing process for decision making, and is actually a form of brainstorming, in that it looks at future possibilities of the organization through a systematic approach. Into both positive and negative concerns. When used properly, SWOT analysis can help find the best match between environmental trends and internal capabilities. An effective strategy is one that takes advantage of the organization's opportunities by employing its strengths and wards off threats by avoiding them or by correcting or compensating for weaknesses. There are many variations on the basic SWOT analysis, and while virtually every consulting firm has its own procedure, all follow the same general steps. Define the objective of the SWOT analysis, provide an explanation of SWOT analysis procedures to participants, ask individuals to consider their organization and list its strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats on a 2x2 matrix worksheet. Combine the individual worksheets into a single worksheet. Engage the group in dialogues and debate about the classification of each item. Develop specific actions for moving forward. Step 1. Define the objective. The first step in SWOT is to define the desired end state or objective, which should be explicit and approved by all participants in the process. It must be performed carefully, because failure to identify correctly the end state leads to wasted resources and possibly failure of the organization. Step 2. Explain the process to participants. Once the objectives have been identified and approved, the second step follows by providing an explanation to SWOT analysis participants of the procedure. This stage is very important for communicating the total nature of SWOT analysis to participants. At this point, future meetings should be clarified and scheduled with the assumption that all members will participate in all meetings. This is critical, as a fluctuating participation base will lead to outputs that are not agreed upon by everyone and no resolution is met. Step 3. Solicit individual contributions. Step 3 features the aspects of SWOT analysis that are most popularly known. Ask participants to fill out worksheet describing strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats that the organization is currently facing. Building upon strengths, internal competencies and capabilities, what we have. Eliminating weaknesses, by lack of internal competencies and capabilities, what we lack. Exploit opportunities, external positive circumstances, what we could get. Mitigate the effects of threats, external negative circumstances, what we could lose. Strengths and weaknesses are seen as internal factors, as mentioned before, and opportunities or threats are external. Internal factors are controllable and can be acted upon. Opportunities and threats are external factors, external uncontrollable factors. Which form the external environment within which the organization operates. According to Thomson, strengths are those elements of success such as a strong competitive position. Weaknesses are those elements which prevent the organization from achieving that competitive advantage, while opportunities are maximized to fit the organization's values and resources, and threats are the factors that the organization is not well equipped to deal with. Step 4. Aggregate all contributions. Once individual contributions have been obtained and the task is now to aggregate these responses into one larger picture containing all of the perspectives on organization's strengths, opportunities and threats. This can be a document format to be distributed to each participant, but it's more commonly done on wall charts or computers that can project an image onto a large screen to aid in facilitating dialogue. Step 5. Facilitate strategic dialogue. Facilitating strategic dialogue may be the part of the SWOT analysis with the most potential for creating change in participant viewpoints. It is important to recognize strengths can be viewed as weaknesses and opportunities can contain hidden threats as well. Therefore, it is helpful to ask questions such as how might this threat also be an opportunity, and does this opportunity contain threats as well. Threats should be seen as challenges, opportunities really. Weaknesses should be viewed as opportunities for improvement. Also, how might these strengths turn out to be a weakness? Answers to such questions may give managers new insights into choosing appropriate strategies and promote innovative ways of thinking about known issues in new ways. It is important to further keep in mind that the way the issues under study are analyzed and classified depends heavily on the people or groups involved in the analysis. As a matter of fact, delegating and involving others in the process allows for higher results to be achieved without being overwhelmed with the issues or factors those. For example, if competitors come up with a new product, some view it as a threat while others view it as an opportunity for opening new doors, innovation and creativity. Sometimes pre-work is useful when identifying opportunities and threats so that time is not wasted and participants are aware of cutting-edge practices. An additional outcome of strategic dialogue involves creating a plan to take action, keeping in mind the goals to be achieved or the desired end state to be reached as a result of the SWOT analysis. The intent of SWOT is to capitalize on the strengths, address weaknesses, take full advantage of opportunities, and minimize the impact of threats. SWOT should therefore be used to identify issues that are considered key to the organization's present and future performance. These critical issues must be clear and followed carefully through the planning, development, and review of any program, plan, or decision. Spending quality time assessing the factors under study is crucial after performing the perception-based analysis. Once options have been evaluated and compared, the aim moves toward how to reach a decision by trying to reduce the list of options. For all its simplicity, SWOT is often used poorly and for the purposes different from those it has been designed for. SWOT is sometimes used to justify a previously decided course of action rather than used as a means to open up new possibilities. SWOT has been also been criticized for giving the option for people or organization to look for strengths that match opportunities, yet ignore those opportunities that cannot be used to their advantage. A more active approach would be to involve identifying the most striking opportunities and then planning to stretch the organization's view in a way that meets these opportunities. SWOT is the main cause of what is considered an excessive formalization of the strategy making process. Mintzberg has argued passionately for the emergent property of a strategy. By this, he meant that strategy is an evolving phenomenon that cannot be boiled down to a few simple steps that work in any situation. Rather, strategy is a complex system in itself, requiring that an element of the unknown be allowed to emerge in the strategy process. According to Mintzberg, emergent strategy emphasizes learning, coming to understand through the taking of actions what those intentions should be in the first place. Various investigations show that SWOT is often looked upon as a basic analytical structure only, or used as a way of launching a wide-ranging group discussion about a company's strategic position. SWOT is usually not linked to any subsequent strategic planning application. The failure of consultants to link outcomes of SWOT exercises to the rest of the planning system has been suggested as a primary misuse of the SWOT tool. This failure reduces SWOT analysis to a mere conversational tool, little more than a topic for managers to simply discuss. In short, failure reduces SWOT analysis to a mere conversational tool, little more than a topic for managers. Okay. In short, SWOT's ease of use often leads to its misuse. Another problem has been the misuse of SWOT analysis to defend a previously decided course of action. Research shows that people use the information that best supports the decision by avoiding that which does not. A further manipulation. A further major misuse of SWOT occurs when organizations prepare an analysis by defining the strengths and weaknesses, and they stop at that particular stage. They tend not to go any further, and as a consequence ignore the implementation stage that would help them formulate strategies to achieve their objectives. It can appear that organization members have achieved their goals as people are aware of the internal as well as the external environments, which is most often misleading. Despite the level of importance, many companies often only have vague ideas of their competitive strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats. Human and Coach listed several additional misconceptions about SWOT, explain why they are wrong and misleading, and finally consider their implications. Coach's listing of misuses is at a fairly detailed level of analysis and is therefore of high utility in this review. SWOT has been outdated by the implementation of a resource-based planning that focuses on the internal resources of an organization, its capabilities and core competencies. SWOT analysis is instrumental in strategy formulation and selection. It's a strong tool, but it involves a great subjective element. It is best when used as a guide and not as a prescription. Successfully, it's not a panacea for all problems. Successful businesses build on their strengths and correct their weakness and protect against internal weaknesses and external threats. They also keep a watch on their overall business environment and recognize and exploit new opportunities faster than its competitors. SWOT analysis helps in strategic planning in following manners. It's a source of information for strategic planning, builds organization strengths, reverse its weaknesses, maximize its response to opportunities, overcome organization threats. It helps in identifying core competencies of the firm. It helps in setting of objectives for strategic planning. It helps in knowing the past, present and future, so that by using the past and the current data, future plans can be chalked out. SWOT analysis provides information that helps in synchronizing the firm's resources and capabilities with the competitive environment in which the firm operates. There are certain limitations of SWOT analysis which are not in control of management. These include price increase, inputs, raw materials, government legislation, economic environment, searching a new market for the product which is not having overseas market due to import restrictions, etc. Internal limitations may include insufficient research and development facilities, faulty products due to poor quality control, poor industrial relations, lack of skill and efficient labor, etc. There are countless situations in which a SWOT analysis will prove beneficial. Do you want to explore the efficacy of a new venture, product, acquisition or merger? Are you interested in identifying solutions to address a particular problem in your business? Do you need to reevaluate a particular strategy mid-course? Does your business have a large amount of surplus cash and needs to figure out how to invest those funds? Alternately, if you are a non-profit or governmental or institution, have you received a large grant, donation or increase in funding and need to decide how to invest the capital? Have a number of new competitors entered your market? Does your company need to reassess how to move forward with their business nexus? Does your company want to identify its central brand image or social mission? If any of these questions speak of your organization's needs, a SWOT analysis can significantly help. Ultimately, it is beneficial to re-examine your position within your market niche and identify your core benefits and determine how those can open new areas of growth. A SWOT analysis will prove an asset. A SWOT analysis provides organizations with an opportunity to accurately assess their position in their particular market or field. As a Kansas University work group for community health and development rights, developing a full awareness of a situation can help with both strategic planning and decision making. A SWOT analysis which offers simplicity and application to a variety of levels of operation is an ideal way to develop such awareness, which can then be used to craft a sound strategy that capitalizes on an organization's internal strengths and external opportunities while simultaneously addressing weaknesses and threats. Moreover, although originally developed for business and industry, SWOT analysis is equally useful in the work of community health and development, education, and even personal growth. The purpose of a SWOT analysis is to assess your organization's current position. Overall, SWOT analysis is a very useful tool for all kinds of organizations besides individuals too. Remember that a coin has two sides. Similarly, any tool will have certain pros as well as cons, advantages as well as disadvantages. If pros outweigh the cons, certainly go for it. Right application is an art more than theory. Experience is the best teacher. Apply and then refine it in stage by stage till we attain perfection. Life itself is a trial and error process only. Okay. Debates and discussion on topics like this can go on forever. Anyhow, let me call it a day. We'll meet again real soon. Some of the statements views expressed are solely mine based on limited knowledge gained over 6 decades. Always watch these videos with the closed caption subtitles for absolute 100% comprehension as by my sincere recommendation. At least zillion times so far. I know I rushed through to complete the presentation within 20 minutes max. This is the time limit I have set myself to retain the viewer's attention as a norm. I know nowadays I exceed this time limit since I make honest attempts to cover the selected topic more elaborately, including so many intricate fine details referring a wide variety of sources, in particular Wikipedia quite extensively, besides articles and books published recently. Besides, of course, I add my own salt and pepper and masala based on my personal experiences so far in my life and also intuition. Stay at home as much as possible to maintain social distancing attributed to pandemic novel COVID-19 and prolong your lifespan. Lead a healthy life. God alone can put a stop to natural and unnatural events, maybe bio and cyber or events like pandemics, which may lead to apocalypse and extinction of all sentient species on the earth for no fault of theirs. All the best. Rest in peace and harmony.